Alright guys, welcome back, and in this video I want to start talking about designing the user interface. It's one of the more fun and also one of the more easier to understand topics, and actually what I decided to do is instead of working anymore with this, I actually want to start a brand new project. So to close out of this, click File, Close Project, and actually if you just close out of Android Studio, like you want to start a new project, so you just close out of the entire thing and then you open it back up again, then what it's going to do is it would just open up that project again. So if you ever want to get back to this window, you would have to click File, Close Project. So if you're trying to do that and that's why, well, I just explained it for you. So from here, what I want to do is click Start a New Android Studio Project. And you can actually name this anything you want, since we're just going to be like, I don't know, not doing anything real important to it. I'm going to name mine Hand Blaster, because why not? And all of these should be good from last time. Click Next. This is still good. We're still making something for the phone. Now, instead of like last time where we chose blank activity, what this would do is it would make that one default blank screen. But I want to show you guys how to add activities manually. So instead of this, choose Add No Activity. So when you click Finish, what's going to happen is it's going to load up and you're pretty much going to have an empty, completely empty project. I mean, it's going to have those core files, but check it out. Alright, so when it's done setting up, this is what you get. Now, obviously, if we click on Project on the left-hand side, we can see that it does indeed have some files created for us, but definitely no activities or screens anywhere. And well, our app would be pretty stinking useless if the user didn't have any screen to look at. So let's go ahead and do that first. So make sure you're in Android view. You can actually look at project view if you want, but I'm going to be in Android view. And in your app, expand that and go to Java. Expand that as well. Now remember, this is where we're going to be building that activity. If you remember from last time, this is actually where that file was. So now if you right click it and select New, scroll down to Activity and we'll just choose Blank Activity. So again, once we're looking at this screen, what this is basically if we clicked Blank Activity whenever we're setting up our project, then this is where we would be. But that's how you do it manually. And also whenever you add additional activities to whatever projects we're working on in the future, that's how you do that, so remember it. Now for right now, this example is only going to have one activity, so I really don't need to give anything like a name because I'm not really going to get disorganized with one activity. However, since this is the only activity, it's very important that you choose this launcher activity. Now remember, the launcher activity is the very first screen that whenever Android is trying to open your app, it's going to look for this. So without it, if you have a bunch of activities and none of them are the launcher activity, then your app's not going to open correctly. So since this is our only activity, we need to make it the launcher activity, aka the starting point. So as soon as you create an activity, what Android Studio is going to do is it's going to create those two files for us. Let me make sure this looks nice and pretty for you guys. Alright, so of course, you remember that main activity, that Java, the brains behind it, and the interface. No need to discuss everything because you guys already know what all that means. So, one other thing I want to point out is you're like, okay, wait a minute, there was one more thing. You said that all of my activities had to be taken care of in the manifest. So let me just look at the manifest, and we'll probably have to do something here, open this, and oh, check it out. Android Studio actually took care of all of that for us. Whenever we just created that new activity, again, in the manifest, this is where all your activities have to be declared. It did everything for us. Pretty stinking awesome. That is also another reason I love Android Studio. So just close out of that and we can continue with the good stuff. So over in activity underscore main.xml, the first thing I want to do is delete this little thing right here, this text view. So just go ahead, select it like before, and just delete it. Now, just for this example, this is just to demonstrate a few things. So I'll say that I'm building the very first page to the best social network ever, thenewboston.com. Not like I'm biased or anything. I mean, it's not even like it's my social network. But anyways, so what we need are a couple things. The first thing is this large text. Alright, so that's a little bit easier to read. I'm just gonna organize everything before I start customizing any of these widgets. So drag in large text, and we'll say that this says like sign in or login. So this will be the login screen. So under this, of course, we need two little input areas for the user to enter their login information, an email and a password. So first, let's get that email. Scroll down. It's actually under text fields. So click that if it's not expanded in for email. Just drag that over, and we can tell when it's aligned with the middle because of this little green line. So drop that right there. Alright, looks pretty good. Now under here, we'll have a password field. So drag that and drop it somewhere under there. Looks good. Now, of course, if I was actually designing this, then what I would do is I would have to make a little text area here that says email and password. But for right now, just demonstrating some stuff, this is, simple enough. Now, of course, after they're done typing in their information, they need some button to click on. So if we scroll way back up, isn't way back up, it's like 2 inches away. But we're gonna select this button and drag it right underneath here, and we'll actually align this in the dead center of your app by using those little alignment things. And alright, looking pretty good. So what I want to do now is I actually want to change the text on this right here and also on the button. So again, this is a login screen, so if I hop over, actually I'll change one this way. So select this large text view element. If we scroll down to a property called text, then what we can see is, okay, right now it's set to large text. That's the text that displays. What we actually want to do is click on this, and we'll change it to something like sign in and hit enter.